to introduce our Chief Financial Officer, Milan Zaletel, then our Chief Technical Officer, Horst Pertl, and our special guy for our convergence services, Adrian Jezina. Guys, we look younger on the pictures. Okay, the purpose of being here today is because we want to share with you the development in our industry. We value very much your opinion, and of course, what you write and what you express in your articles. We believe that you are an important part of the further development in our business. We want to hear your opinion. We will share with you the development of the industry. We will share with you some of our strategic thinking. And at the end of the day, at the end of the presentation, we like to hear from you what you think, how we can become better as an industry, and especially you that are our customers, how we can become better as a company. And hopefully by the end of the presentation, the ones that they are not our customers can become our customers. So the content for today is the presentation of the telecom industry, the development. Let's look first at our penetration rate. These charts are at the end of 2012 data. However, what we have done, we have a more accurate information at the end of 2013. It clearly shows that Bulgaria has a penetration rate of 145%. This clearly shows that the market is mature, is saturated, and I think we're enjoying among the most of the European countries the highest penetration rate. On the other hand, though, we see an opportunity in the mobile data, where we see that penetration rate is around 11%. We believe that there's still further room to grow. We are not among the lowest, but still somewhere in the middle. And given the investment that is taking place by the three operators, we believe there's still room to improve and increase the penetration rate in mobile data. At the same time, we see that fixed broadband is among the lowest in terms of penetration. It's around 20%, when the average of European 27 countries is around 29%. So we see here another opportunity for improvement in the penetration rate of fixed broadband in our country. Now, in terms of end of 2013, what we see is the market shares of the mobile operators. Our company, MTEL, is still the leader at 39% market share, followed by Global by 37% and Vivacom 24%. On the right side of the presentation, we see the market shares in the fixed business. We see that the majority belongs to Bulsatcom with 46%, followed by Vivacom 20%, and then Blizou 15%. And what is interesting to mention here, we have 250 small operators in our market in fixed, which shows that the fixed business is very segmented. Now, let's see the development of our industry in the last 4 to 5 years. We see that revenue has been dropping from 2010 to 2013, from 1.4 billion euro, it's down to 1.2. It's a decrease of about 20% over the last 4 years, and this has to do a lot with regulatory impact, high competition, and as we will see, lower usage of our services. What it means, though, the decrease of the revenue in our industry, it has also decreased as a percentage of GDP. In 2006, we see that our industry contributed with 6% to the GDP of the country. Now it's down to 3.6%, which means, in reality, that things are getting much tougher for investment. It's getting more difficult for people that are employed in our industry. And I would say, at the same time, it's difficult for the government because it means less taxes that we pay as an industry to the government. So it's coming to difficult times, has been difficult times for our industry. And as we will see, we are still keeping hopeful that, and optimistic that our industry will continue to develop, and also we as a company will continue to invest. I think, talking about investment, another interesting chart which we like to share with you is on the left side. It shows all the countries and the percentage of investment they make as part of the revenue. We see that Bulgaria, 24% of the revenue generated from the operators is invested back into the market. And this is the highest percentage among all European countries. If we go to the right side of the chart, what we see here that Bulgaria has the lowest price per minute, among the lowest price per minute of all European countries. So here we have quite the opposite effect. We have the lowest prices in Europe, and on the other hand, we have the highest investment as a percentage, again, in the whole Europe. So it's very interesting contradiction of what's going on in our industry, and it's clear that what I said before, that the difficult times that we have been going through in the last 4 years will continue because prices will not increase. On the other hand, investment will continue to take place in order to further develop our business. So, I think what we have seen from this chart and what we can conclude is that we have a market that we believe is over-regulated. We have the impact of EU regulation, which we respect and accept. We have the further impact from the local regulator to the extreme sometimes that we don't understand whether it's the best for the customer or it balances between value and the service that we are offering. But we also see that we have very good competition. We have two other operators in the mobile part which we respect. We have seen that they have done quite a good job. So we have a healthy competition in our market, which drives prices further down for the benefit of the consumer. And on the fixed part, we have, I would say, too many players. I think the market needs to be cleaned up. These 250 small operators in the fixed business, it generates question marks whether they have the ability and the potential to further develop and contribute to the improvement of the services. So we need to look into this. What we have also is quality of services. As I mentioned before in my in the chart, we are still investing quite high in further developing the industry with new technologies and new services. We have seen also that the prices to the consumer is going down, but what we have not seen, unfortunately, is that the consumer is using more his phone. So we have the double effect, the double impact of reducing prices, reduced prices with lower usage of the phones. And I would say that this is not normal, because if we see the other markets, the other European markets, we see that when we have a trend of decreasing prices, we see a higher usage of the phone. But we don't see this here in our country. So this is basically the conclusions of what have taken place over the last 5 years. I will turn now to Milan to present the financial performance of our company, and then we'll talk about what we're doing next.
Okay, thank you, Thanasis. I hope you don't mind if I sit down. It will be, for me, a little bit easier. So I'm in Bulgaria for 1.5 years. And up until this moment, I thought I do look as young as I looked on the picture. So thank you for clearing that out. That's why I also will not continue in Bulgaria, even though I believe I speak, but obviously my beliefs are not good enough basis to continue. The purpose of today's presentation is not to focus on financial results. Those are not new to you. You know them very well. But before we go, still to mention a couple of numbers, I will still just emphasize what Thanasis was saying. In the last 1.5 years since I've been here, I came in a moment of very difficult economic situation, which is not unique to Bulgaria. It's basically throughout the European Union. To, as Thanasis pointed out, highly regulated market, very intense competition, and I believe generally this affected not only us, but everybody else in the market. But since we are the largest player on the market, we bear the highest impact. And the impact shows on the following. Merci. Yes, you can clearly read the numbers. One more. Thank you. So Thanasis showed you how the market developed in total in terms of revenues. We are giving you a little bit more details in terms of how this picture looks in Excel. You can see that over the last several years, when we try to be transparent, from 2009 on, the decline has been steady and continuous. We finished last year with roughly 400 million euro revenues, and just to put it in perspective, everything that Thanasis was pointing out, the impact of regulated revenues, and by regulated revenues we mean roaming and interconnection, in only the last year was 60% of total decline. So that is significant, which also then later on you can see affects our EBITDA. One point which a lot of times is being missed by people looking at regulation is that countries like Bulgaria, and I come from a similar country of Slovenia, are net importers of regulated traffic, which means that these are countries that benefited the most in the past by higher prices. The countries on the other hand, the bigger countries of the European Union, were the ones paying to the smaller countries, and now this is gone, which means that the cost of the development of our networks, of our services, is barely on our shoulder. On EBITDA, the effect is, as you can see, similar. Last year we finished with 159 million euro of EBITDA. The decline, which is presented of 48 million euro, 34% of it comes from regulated industries. The rest is the result of the fact which were mentioned already before, which means that customers using less and the price is continuing on the market to go down affects us more in the respect of EBITDA. To put it all together, last year we finished with 39% market share, which is 4 percentage points less than the year before. So we continue this, let's say, experience going forward. At the same time, the revenues are impacted mainly by interconnection, but at the same time, throughout the years that you've been watching, MTEL has kept its investment and its long-term commitment to the market on a fairly stable level. Therefore, we increased our capex to revenue ratio, meaning how much of our revenues we reinvest back into the network, from 12 to 50%. And these are the levels that we will keep and continue also in the future. More details will be later on presented by Horst. But this is something which shows our long-term commitment to customers, and especially long-term commitment to the quality of service. The next point which I want to make relates to exactly that area. It is not a secret that a couple of years ago we experienced some challenges related to one of the most important systems that we are running in the company, related to billing. And we want to give you an update that for more than 1 year we have been currently running an assessment project with world's leading organization in terms of certification according to the most demanding standards as presented by a British regulator. And just recently, so a couple of weeks ago, we were granted a certificate proving that our billing system meets the most demanding standards of all industry standards there are. We checked the processes, we checked the functionalities, and currently we can with full confidence say that our billing system is not only accurate but also fit to the most demanding standards there are in the industry. And basically we'll continue to check this on an ongoing basis. Currently certificate is valid for 3 years, but our commitment is to check and reconfirm it on a more periodical basis so that our customers can feel comfortable that our challenges of the past are not only over, but also that they are being served from this side of the system to the latest and the highest possible standards. With these words, I'm open for the questions at the end, and I give my word to Thanasis.
Okay. Thank you, Milan. So we have seen what has taken place in the last 4 or 5 years. I think you are more interested to see what we are planning ahead. I would just like to mention take the opportunity to mention that despite the regulation, the impact of the regulation, prices, competition that I mentioned before, we have also realized that we as a company taking the biggest impact of these changes, we have also to change as an operation. We have also to adjust to the new requirements of the market, to the new standards of the market. And this is where we are right now. We as a company are transforming, understanding, learning from the past, what we have not done well to further improve, and what more we can do in order to first improve our operation, improve our services to the customers, and still remain, I would say, the trademark of our industry, because MTEL is the oldest mobile operator in this market, and it's still the trademark of the country, one of the trademarks of the country. So, looking ahead, going back. Technology sometimes is quite confusing. Yeah? Okay. What is our goals? We have 3 main goals as a company. The first one is to continue to be the leader in the mobile market. Milan mentioned before that we have lost 4 to 5 percentage points in the last year. We have 39% market share, and we are determined to keep our leadership in the mobile market. The second goal that we have, seeing the financial performance of MTEL in the last 5 years, what we want to do is to stabilize the situation. We have seen a negative trend. We want to stabilize this trend and then look for opportunities to further grow, because we believe, despite the difficulties and the maturity and the competition in our industry, we still feel and believe that there is room to further grow financially in this market. And the third objective, the third goal that we have, is to improve our market share in the fixed business. We have invested quite a lot. We have a great fixed network, very competitive, and we believe, the management believes, that our market share of 7% does not represent the real picture of our company. We deserve more, and we believe that we have the right plans, the right mentality to further improve our position in the fixed business. Of course, goals with no specific strategy and initiatives is not enough. Therefore, we will share with you some of the strategy that we have for the next, on how to achieve the goals. The strategy is being supported by 5 pillars. The first pillar is about products and services, and we'll talk more about it. The second pillar is about innovations. We are the leading company in terms of innovations, and we want to continue to be the leader in bringing new innovative products and services to this market. The third pillar is smart products and services and smartphones together. We mentioned before that data penetration in Bulgaria is at a very low rate. We believe that there is still room to grow a lot. Smartphones today in the market is only 20%, 20 to 25% of the total mobile phones. Therefore, we believe there is a room to further develop in the smartphones category, followed, packaged with smart products and services. The next pillar of our strategy is customer experience. And everybody, we know these days, talks about customer experience. We want, as a company, to go back to the fundamentals of how we do our business. We want to simplify the way that we service the customer. We want to go closer to the customer. We want to become more transparent, and we want to become also the choice of the customer, the number one choice of the customer in the mobile industry. The last pillar is investments, and my other 2 colleagues will talk more about future investments. We already told you, Milan already mentioned, I believe Milan mentioned that we will continue to invest the same amount of money as we did last year. It's quite substantial, this amount. Bringing new technology, improving our current infrastructure, and improving also our network. Of course, any strategy cannot be implemented without having the right people in the organization. And we believe that even though we have invested a lot of money, billions of euros in network, in systems, and in products and services, we still believe that our biggest asset in the company is our people. Therefore, we will continue to invest on our people with giving them opportunities to further develop by doing more training, by getting more opportunities to become better experts at what they're doing. And, of course, we, as a socially responsible company in this market, we will continue with our programs, with our projects that we have started a few years ago. This is our strategy. This is our 5 pillars of what we want to do. And of course, under each pillar, we have developed different initiatives and activities. I will just mention the pillar of the products and services. No. Okay, how do we go? Okay. All right. Speaking about products and services, the first pillar, we just introduced the transfer plans. I would say that they have been very well accepted by the market. It clearly shows that customer does not use a minute, does not lose a minute of what he has paid, because the minutes are transferred in the next month. So it's a very transparent plan, and we have further ideas on how to develop more in the future these plans. As of this Monday, we started also with our fixed offer. I'm not sure how much you are aware of this, as communication has not yet started. It's an offer, very price aggressive, tailor-made for our MTEL customers. I think we will be, it will be the first 2 days has been quite interesting for us, as we see there is a big demand for this kind of services, especially at the prices and the quality that we are offering. And today we are going to see together, we are the first one actually, to see our TVC that will be on air Thursday or Friday? Tomorrow. Friday. So, let's see the TVC.
Раз, два, три, четири. Едно, два, три. Едно, два, три. Едно, два, три. Едно, два, едно, два, три.
По-добре е да можеш да контролираш това, което гледаш. Сега вземи цифрова телевизия и високоскоростен интернет за дома от MTEL, само за 14,90 на месец.
Раз, два, три, четири.
Нощните клади, ако сачи разбира, без душа да душата ми пада.
По-добре е, когато можеш да разчиташ на интернета си. Сега вземи високоскоростен интернет за дома от MTEL, само за 9,90 на месец.
So I hope you like the TVCs. Good. So they will be on air starting tomorrow. I would say that as MTEL, this is our first holistic approach to the fixed business, to the fixed industry. We have high expectations, and as I said before, the first couple of days that we see that there is high interest from the consumers. This will conclude my part. I will hand it over to Horst to talk more about our investments that we have planned for this year, and then after. Thank you.
Thank you. Switched on. Thank you very much, Thanasis. I will talk a little bit about technology leadership. I'm afraid that I cannot share with you, of course, technical details of it, simply because we don't like competitors to read about our plans in the various medias. However, I will make a short summary of where we stand. I don't have a detailed presentation.
Everything is very
relevant information,
Not right.
and I will give you a summary of where we stand and what we do. What does it mean, technology leader? And we are still seen as the technology leader, even though in a mature market as Bulgaria is, leadership on the technical side is quite a challenge. Why? Because competitors have money, they have knowledge, and with money and knowledge you can do basically copy and paste of what the ones did, which started earlier. So it's only a matter of money and time in order to close the gaps. Historically, MTEL, as the oldest, as the first mobile operator, had a huge advantage over competition. That advantage is simply gone. Yeah? Now the competitors, and we are playing on a level of performance of infrastructure, which not only in Bulgaria, but across Europe is on an extremely high level. I said it before, and I think it is important that we have to repeat it and point it out again and again, simply because the population and the customer base here has to recognize and to acknowledge that the services which they get in this market are on a superb level. We can easily compete with all the countries in the European Union on the service levels which we give. Versus on the pricing level, we are far behind the rest of Europe. You all know that we are the fourth cheapest within the European Union. So when I said we continue to be the technology leader, we know that because it's based on feedback from the customer base or from the population in the country, but also from benchmarking and measuring, which may be seen as not completely objective, nevertheless it's measurable. We continue to operate the biggest mobile network with by far more than 3,000 base stations, which is significantly more than our competitors have. We continue to operate the fastest mobile network, despite one of the competitors has gone close to us, but nevertheless measurable, and customer experience shows that we do have still the fastest mobile network for data. Why do I point it out? Because at the end it doesn't really matter what technology is behind. At the end what really counts is customer experience. It also doesn't matter what is measured and what KPIs are met or not met. It's simply how the customer sees it. And we have the feedback that the customer experience on our mobile network is still higher, and customers rate the experience better than the ones on the competition. I have to repeat, because the topic of LTE is slowly reaching the Bulgarian market, I have to repeat and to remind you that we have launched the first LTE network about almost 3 years ago in this country. We are continuing to run this, what we call a trial network, where we have friendly customers on it. It's not commercially launched, but LTE in this country is nothing new. Needless to say that LTE is a technology which in principle will not bring, and I have to point it out, will not bring some exciting new services to the customers. It's just another mobile broadband technology which allows higher speeds, and that's it. So this is very important, because the customers say, okay, the world goes towards LTE. There is many countries in Europe which have moved and decided to go to LTE, whereas Bulgaria. Bulgaria and the market in Bulgaria is excellently served with mobile broadband data with the current infrastructure. Our 3G network provides speeds up to 42 megabit per second. We have about 3/4 of the network which technically can give you this speed, yeah, and the average is 21 megabit per second. also here, we are by far ahead versus competition when we count like the settlement where we are supporting the speeds of up to 42 megabits per second. We have almost double the amount of settlements versus the second one going into this direction in terms of 42 megabits per second. And of course, we also have the respective transmission capacity and technology behind in order to support it, because you cannot only have the radio network allowing this kind of speed, but you have to have a complete chain of venues there. And something which we have not yet touched, and also Adrian will then later go into this direction, but as a technology leader, of course, we decided also to invest massively into fixed technology. We do have state-of-the-art technology in our fixed infrastructure, which is based completely on fiber optics. Of course, it's not 100% based on the latest technology yet, but since we acquired the two players, Spectrum and Nederland, everything which we have deployed is based on GPON and fiber to the home. And we have quite ambitious plans to remedy the infrastructure which we acquired for these two companies, but which of course has been built based on different technologies. It has been said already numerous times today, we continue to invest massively into our infrastructure. What does this mean? Many things are happening without the customers are even feeling it. This doesn't mean that we are not doing it, but that's actually the purpose if we provide the services without significant or almost no service interruptions. What I mean by that, we have started to modernize our complete mobile network 3 years ago. We have, as of today, completed about 75% of our mobile network based on future-proof mobile technology. What does this mean? This is based on single radio access, SRAN, where we are far ahead again. And you all know that one of our competitors recently has announced to launch a major network modernization project. That is something which we decided a couple of years back and which we have achieved by 75% as of today. And even if we start slowing down massively, we will definitely be done with this project way before anyone will go that direction. That would be the basis, and here I'm closing the loop towards LTE. That is actually creating the basis for future technologies such as LTE. Yeah? Having completed network modernization will mean that we relatively fast move on with the next step. Having said so, this doesn't mean that we are going to tell you that we will launch LTE in whatever month of the upcoming year or years. Yeah? Why? Because the market does not need today LTE. Simply because of the existing infrastructure is giving service levels which are outstanding, and we will only go the next step if the market is really demanding. And then we are ready with immediate effect. In principle, technology is not the main differentiator anymore in a mature market as Bulgarian is. Technology became a kind of a legacy. The customers simply expect infrastructure to perform and to give them what you want at the highest possible level. The only differentiator which really counts is customer experience. And this is where we are working. And this is also what we see as the biggest challenge from the technology viewpoint. Simply because as the oldest, as almost like an incumbent operator, or as the mobile incumbent operator, over time, of course, we have collected a high number of systems and technologies. And today everyone speaks about next generation technologies on each and every part of technology. And the switch over from legacy technologies into next generation technologies is a challenge, where we are extremely sensitive because we do not want our customers to feel it. Yeah? And if sometimes, unfortunately, or sometimes there is no way around, then we want to be transparent enough, and we would like them to inform the customers we are working on the infrastructure on this part or on that part, and there might be a service impact. This is how we decided to go into the future. So anytime which we believe there might be something feelable in terms of service levels, we of course will do a step forward, and we will give you the information upfront, as we had it on a few occasions in the past already. So that's about technology. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them into whatever details, as much as we can share with you. On the fixed side, Adrian will cover where we stand and what.
I'm fixed side.
Yeah, but this will work as well.
Hello everybody. It's my first time here in Bulgaria. I'm very grateful to be part of this company and do some great things together with my members. And I really believe that we have all the basis to maintain leadership in the business engagement. Unfortunately, today I also brought some fluent fever, but next time it will be better. Going to some global trends. The world is rather big place, and most of telecom services are growing still in the world. If we come back to the region, we actually can see the things are slightly different, but what's common for the entire world today is that mobile fixed and internet, it's really not the data, it's really growing fast. And there is one of the biggest things in the future which nobody actually does that it will happen. One also interesting thing is to know that every new smartphone, every new tablet, every new smart device is actually with a screen, with an enabling streaming screen. And the number of these screens in the world will need the number of people in a couple of years. So the whole new opportunity, actually, whole new line of opportunities is coming from that direction also. Data is going fast and growing fast. This is one slide that shows that actually what's behind it. And you can see that major growth of data growth is coming from a video streaming. And this is last year evaluation from one of the top companies. And you can see by sharing a video, actually over 50% of traffic is actually very soon becoming a video in all of the world. In some countries like the United States of America, it's already over 50% of traffic because of the YouTube and Netflix big impact. Bulgarian market is very advanced TV market in the sense of pay TV. It's over 80%, which is really strong pay TV market. There are many players. The market, these numbers, we didn't have official numbers for 2013, so we made some predictions. But anyway, the point here was to show that the TV still grows. Even though there is a highly penetrated market, there is still opportunity for that. And also the other thing is that there is a bigger penetration of TV in Bulgaria than internet. So this is also something to bear in mind. And over time we know that internet will grow, but we don't believe that television will fall, so we believe in the bundle services more and more. On top of that, it's our containers just went out. I believe very soon we will here have one more line, which is OTTs, which is actually the fact today in the world, and we cannot avoid it. The question is this complementary service or is this exchange service for classical services? That's very hard to say. I personally believe that it's complementary service that both services will exist. And then probably some partnership ways like Virgin Netflix or some kind of similar stories that already happen. Interactive services are also happening, growing fast, but actually on a very small pace. Because the biggest part of the market is actually coming from satellite, and not all of the cable networks are on the edge of technologies, especially from smaller players. So this interactive services, since they are already money and expensive to actually put in production, are here Bulgaria is going to be behind the region. If we see what was also told today, that there is a huge number of providers of fixed services of TV, this is really not sustainable. The United States has 4 mobile operators, I don't know, 4 or 5 big fixed operators. Europe has 130 mobile operators. Everybody talks about one market, but this is too much. And then we come to one Bulgaria, 200, 300, 500. Really doesn't have to be a nuclear scientist to see that this doesn't probably, it's not sustainable for a longer term. Especially that we know that the data is growing so fast that it's exponentially still, especially on a fixed line, because there's a lot of mobile uploads, video streaming, and everything else. And Bulgaria sometimes also have this now network about 70 gigs a month per network per user, which is huge amount of traffic. And this is still growing, and to be able to sustain a great quality, it constantly needs investment to segment the network, to put fiber closer to the left. And these investments are not small, and we are seeing that all the other smaller operators simply won't be able to follow that. On the other side, the TV side, probably you're aware that every year the content cost goes up, especially for some premium sport rights, movies or something like that. So the cost structure is going up, and competition is growing down the RP. So this also is not sustainable so we see the consolidation must happen, or simply some companies won't sustain to live on the market. What this lower RPU actually, what we can see, one of the reasons some new like township and value services are not highly pushed through the market is actually because of this low RPU. So it's very hard to push any value services in a sense if you don't have something to fund it. That's probably the reason why in the region of that segment there is a little bit behind, even though pay TV market in general is very high. We actually have a steady growth in both broadband internet and IPTV. We believe we will emphasize on also convergence that this growth will increase in future because we believe, as the group also believes that the future telecom services is actually have a customer which it takes whatever service it can take. And we are in a great position to be one of the telcos or the telco that offers that to our customers. Coming to the end, we have a great network in major cities, covering up to 1/3 of households. Definitely, we had some partnerships in the past. We are exploring the new partnerships. And we actually want to fully, always, constantly modernize and upgrade our network to be able to provide the customers edge of technology and really personality service. That's for now from my side. Thank you.
So, question.
И на канал 1 от български език има, ако искате, може да задавате въпросите си на български, на преводачи, както ви удобно, или директно на английски. Заповядайте. Колеги, въпроси имате ли?
Може ли да бъда? Здравейте, казвам се Томислав Савов, Шалай Гонец. Исках да попитам какво става с партньорството с Apple, дали продължава и какво ново да очакваме от Intel. Дали се чу? Yes. Благодаря ви.
It's very interesting that we are presenting the development of our industry, and all of a sudden Apple comes into the picture. Of course, we understand why. We continue to offer Apple phones in our stores. We have the newest models in all of our distribution. We will continue to service the Bulgarian market. In what form and how, I mean, what kind of cooperation, this is something that is being discussed within the group, whether it's a direct cooperation with Apple or a direct cooperation. But I think for the consumers, they should not worry, as they will see the latest models of iPhones in all of our shops. And of course, the service of these iPhones will be warranted by us.
I just wanted to make sure, first of all, thank you for your presentation. I'm spreading over with Reuters. I just wanted to make sure about the market share, that it is in terms of revenues or in terms of profit, or in what terms you calculate the market share. There have been media reports recently that Viva has actually become the biggest telecom operators, which is quite different from the data that you've shown. And that's my first question. And my second question is whether you plan some future acquisitions of the market so that will allow you to grow in different segments. Thank you.
The first part of your question, the market share that we saw before and being the leader is in terms of customers. 39% is the leader in terms of customers. You're right. Vivacom the other day announced being the leader in terms of revenue share in the telecom market. However, I need to point out here that their numbers include both fixed and mobile. And we know traditionally that Vivacom has been, I will not say monopoly, but one maybe key player in this market. Only in the last 3 years, starting with Intel, maybe 4 years ago, there is competition in fixed, not as good as it should have been, but it will become better. And that's why I mentioned before that one of our goals for next years is to improve our market share in terms of in the fixed industry, which should reflect also higher total revenue for the whole company. So again, we are the leader in the market share. Vivacom is a leader in the total revenue share of the market. Regarding the second part of your question, we as a group continue to evaluate opportunities, not only in Bulgaria, but in all the countries that we operate, to further expand our business through consolidation, through buying some new, making investment in some other operators. So we continuously look for these opportunities and always
matching with our strategy. So nothing to report right now, but again, we continue to have in our radar all the possibilities in our market.
Колеги?
First, I'm Polly Miguel from Capital Week Bulgaria. First, what's the ratio of the capex of the company? Because you mentioned that it will remain the same in the future, in next years. So what's the exact sum of capex?
So very directly, cannot give you the precise number, but the ratio over the last couple of years was, as I said, between 12 and 15%. And we are going to be, let's say, closer to the higher end of it in the future.
And when you were talking about fixed market, you mentioned 7% market share of Mobiltel, but we saw on the graphics that Mosavcom was the biggest operator, so you were not talking about fixed market as fixed telephony.
No.
You were talking about fixed market of broadband.
TV. This is basically the two main areas of the greatest potential in our market.
So, do you have some other special measures or news to tell us about your future plans for TV in Bulgaria? And is that the price war that you started the other day with this price of internet? Because it's a very interesting market in Bulgaria, especially the prices.
Well, I'm not sure whether we started the price war. I would say that we followed the price war. Only 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, Mizu came up with an extraordinary price, not even much that price, with our new offer. I think what is important in our fixed industry, for our fixed business, is to realize the potential, the weakness that we have as an operation, that we have seen in the last few years, and to put measures together on how to improve internally in order to perform better in the market. And we have already started with this offer, which I do believe it has great value for the customer, for the price. As I mentioned before, it's only for our MTEL customers, so it's not available for the whole market. So it's more of a loyalty plan to our existing MTEL customers. And of course, we have plans, and it was mentioned before, that we want to improve our quality, we want to improve our coverage, and to improve overall the service, customer experience. So this is the plans that we have, and of course behind these plans we have certain activities that you can understand that we cannot share with you. But I did mention before that besides these pillars, there's a number of things that we need to do, we implement in order to achieve our goals.
Are you going to involve in the platform for TV?
To the what?
Are you going to offer new platforms for TV subscription?
Platforms in terms of IPTV or?
IPTV,
No, we don't have such plans. I think our IPTV shows already the advantages that it's offering versus competition. Its main advantage with our IPTV platform is that the customer gets the total control of what he's watching. And I think once the customer understands the benefit, will be more interested. Because today, and I take it for myself, I want to get a glass of water, but I don't want to miss a sip. So I either ask my daughter, which she will never bring me a glass of water, but that's a different story. So I have to go myself. So I'm missing a sip. With this IPTV platform, we have the possibility to get the total control, which I think is a nice feature and unique in this market.
So no DTH?
let's say we are evaluating all possibilities. Okay, of course, I would say, I would probably mention, and maybe Anthony can jump in, that the group is also quite interested in developing a lot of the FTTH services.
I think launched the big, let's say, platform, which is able to be white labeled, which was white labeled for Croatia and for some other operators. We are evaluating what would it make business sense to do it in Bulgaria this period of time.
Does it make sense to buy Vizu because it's for sale again?
You wanted to ask this question from the beginning. No, we don't have any specific plans right now. As I said, we as a group evaluate all possibilities in all markets that we are operating, and whether these possibilities or potential matches well with our strategy, then we will act accordingly. So buying anything, another operator these days, fixed or mobile, it has to do, of course, a lot with the price, but more importantly, on how it matches your strategy. So we are not yet, again, if it's for sale, we will look at the possibilities and the opportunities, and we will decide whether we are interested or not. I think what is more important, and was mentioned before, that especially in the fixed business, we have become too many. Okay. This is not sustainable for many players. We believe that price is important for the customer, but at the same time, the kind of service and the quality of the service that is getting. And if we, all these operators, small operators with unknown potential, continue to work in this market with the only objective to drive down prices, I think at the end the consumer will be the biggest loser out of this price war. So we as a company have done quite a big investment in the fixed business. We continue to invest in the future. We, as I mentioned before, we believe the 7% market share that we currently have does not represent the investment we made or the efforts that we have put behind. Therefore, we are putting a new strategy together on how to further improve this segment.
So what has to be done to consolidate the market? Do you think that the regulators should do something to make the sector not be so great, let's say?
I think the regulator, I'm only here for 6 months, so I have to be very careful what I'm saying. But I have worked with different regulators in different markets, and I understand how difficult the job is. And I would say that there is always a balance between bringing value for the customer and also protecting the investment that is coming into the country. I would say that there is not good balance today in this country. We need to find a better balance. Okay? As I said, there are certain regulations coming from EU that we are totally respecting, along with the local decisions about regulations. Again, we respect and we follow, but we find sometimes that there are way too extremes on one end, and not always finding balance.
Hello, call about Personal.com. Are you ready with the new tariff plans, which are not the tariff with 60/60 but 31, which the Bulgarian regulator wanted to offer?
Yes.
Yes, we are ready.
That's a short answer.
We are ready. We are ready, but I would like to mention, I think, and we have shown in the slide before the prices per minute compared to the other countries, and we are among the lowest. Okay. If this 30 plus 1 second will bring down further down the prices, and for the benefit of the customer, I mean the room is very small. But in terms of operators, we're all ready because we have a deadline. I think it's middle of April that we have to launch. And we're totally ready and will respect the decision of the regulator.
And do you have any opinion on the question with the national roaming? Is it possible for you to have agreement with some other operators?
National roaming in terms of
new
operators?
For example?
Again, this is a decision by the regulator to allow national roaming for some new players, and again we respect this decision. But at the same time, the new players need to respect the investment that we have made as a company, because obviously everything needs to be taken into consideration when you come into discussion for national roaming. So we are open, willing to discuss, but taking everything into consideration.
You have discussions with somebody from the team?
We have coffee. No sugar. I think what is, and again, I should be a bit more careful with when it comes to regulatory issues. And as I said, we've been the biggest operator in terms of market share. We are respecting all the decisions, as we have always done traditionally. One is the 30 plus 1 seconds. There is a new one that we really don't understand. It's regarding the contracts that the regulator is forcing all the operators to change the contracts and the text within the contracts. The fonts. So he's asking the fonts to become bigger and to highlight and to make it bold and all these kind of things. I can tell you, for the operators, for all operators, it's an administration nightmare. Okay? And that's true. But let's look at the customer. With the customers, if the board is bigger or the font is bigger, will they read it more than they did before? A question. Because I think it's very clear that the customers today that are interested to look at the contract, they know where to read and what to read. Whether you make what you read bigger, okay, it's maybe only because you're not wearing reading glasses. Okay? That's the only benefit I see. Because I'm a consumer, I know where to look in a contract, I know what to read and where to read. Whether someone makes this bigger for me, it will not change what I read. Only the convenience maybe of reading it, that's it. But on the other hand, it's an administration, big administration, because changing all the contracts, all the systems, everything, even informing your people, your suppliers, etc., etc. It's a big job for all operators, and it has a cost. You need to understand that Anything, and this is something that we also discussed with the regulator many times. Anything that takes out from the operators has any impact on two things: on investment and on employees. Because there is a point that the operators will decrease further the investment because it's just not enough margin anymore. Okay? And the second is to start impacting employees, the structure of the company, the organizational structure. And this is what also we are communicating. I remember back in 2007 when I was last here, in our industry there were thousands, more than 10,000 people working just back then for the company that I used to work. How it's this directly and indirectly, because we are talking about vendors, suppliers, and everybody else. And now this number was cut to half. Okay, so it has an impact on the employment, and this is also what we are trying to say to the operators, to the regulator.
Did you communicate this with Mrs. Bobeva because there was some kind of meeting with her? I'm sorry. Keep it. You had meeting with Mrs. Bobeva, the Vice Prime Minister. Did you submit some suggestions?
Yes, we have.
What kind of?
We have. I have not meeting, but this can be.
Yes. Hello to everybody. My name is Iskra Kurseva. I'm Care Relations and Regulation Division Director. At the meeting with Mr. Bobeva, it was with representatives of the sector, not only Mobiltel. We raised these issues to her. We raised topics that we expect some decrease of the regulation on the market. And as far as there is such an initiative on governmental level, we provided some concrete proposals to her, not only for sector regulation, but for construction of networks as well. So our questions was raised here, and we expect some further steps from the government.
Последний вопрос.
You said smart devices will be a huge focus in your strategy this year, but do you see anytime soon the prices of these devices to lower the on-contract prices? Of course, not with the tariff plans of €5 or something, but with higher plans of country level.
There has always been a confusion when it comes to terminals, and we are not making fixing terminals. We are selling terminals, and this means that prices depend very much on the vendors of the terminals. What is really interesting about the smart phones is that prices from the vendors have been dropping in the last 2 to 3 years. Now we see that the entry level of a smartphone is in the range of, could be in the range of 50 to 60 euro, which is almost the same price as a conventional phone. And we believe that this trend will continue in the future. And that's what I said, that's why I mentioned before that having the right packages in terms of services, having the right terminal in terms of prices from the vendor, the total bundle package will be more appealing to the consumer, and that's why we believe that the smart segment will continue to grow. The current percentage of 20 to 25% is very small. I can tell you that I came from Serbia, and Serbia is a bit behind in terms of development of this market.
However, the smart segment was about 30% of the total market. So we believe that Bulgaria has a big potential to develop the smartphone category.
Yes, so this will happen with the lower end devices, but what about the flagship devices? Where, for example, in Eastern Europe, they're much cheaper with contract with the operator, which stimulates some.
Yes. However, it has to do a lot with the average price per minute, the charge. So it's a combination. The higher subsidy that other operators are giving in other countries is relevant to the price per minute that these customers are paying for. Of course, we have some price plans with high tariffs, monthly fees, that will give higher subsidies. So it's a matter of, at the end of the day, it's a matter of what kind of use the customer needs from his tariff. If he talks a lot, it makes a lot of sense to buy a tariff with a high monthly fee and a lot of minutes. But if he only wants the lower or the higher subsidy, the lower cost of the phone, it does not make sense to buy this tariff, for sure.
Can I ask one more question? In regard to cloud services, is MTEL thinking about big data, cloud services, and new services that will be provided to customers? Thank you.
I will answer this question for you. Even today, MTEL is offering cloud services, but for business customers. So we do have an infrastructure as a service product in our portfolio, and we are in there. When it comes to residentials, there is a lot of discussions. Does it make sense or not? Currently, the Bulgarian market is reluctant to take it on, while in other markets there is certain propositions. We are constantly looking at it, and we are checking when is the moment to come to jump on it. Here we are also looking very carefully what is the Telekom Austria Group doing. Within the Telekom Austria Group, there are certain platforms which are actually ready to be used, but in Bulgaria we have not introduced them.
Thank you.
Това беше последния въпрос. Искам много да ви благодаря за участието. You have some finishing words?
No, since we finished, I just want to thank all of you for coming to this meeting. We like to continue this kind of meetings. At least we should have them once per year in order to continue to discuss the further development of our industry. We like to hear your opinion. We need your support. We are all, I would say, on the same boat. We all work for the same industry. We want this industry to continue to do better or to do better than in the past. And we need all support from all parties involved, especially from you. We value your opinion very much, and we will continue to be in contact. We will be open, we'll be transparent, and we'll try to share with you as much as we can do. Thank you very much for coming and being here today. Last closing comments?
Нямам коментари и аз много ви благодаря. Надявам се, че това ще бъде наистина поредица от срещи с управителния съвет на МТЕЛ. Затова така сме казали, че това е първата среща. Иначе знаете къде да ни намерите и как. Благодаря ви.